Hey guys, welcome back to THFE. This is Psychoduck, and I'm here with the first in our series of conversion theory tutorials. Now, this is where it gets complicated, so I'm going to try to make this as clear and easy to follow as possible, but there's going to be a lot of information. I encourage you guys to have, if you're looking to make a conversion map, go look at Firebase and Colony, and then watch this and try to apply all this information I'm throwing at you. But there's a lot that goes into it, and this is why conversion is complicated. This is why, when people say, "Oh, this is just like one-site extraction," I laugh in their face, because it's not. Because there's a ton of little details that go into the design of this stuff. So okay, so we're talking about phase 1 today. I'm going to go through each of the phases in a different video, and then of course you gotta combine it all into one map, which is also complicated. But anyways, phase 1 design is probably, it's in some ways very straightforward, because you're not worrying about vehicles or additional weapon spawns or any of that. But in some ways it's also, it's still, there's a lot that goes into it. So the main components of a phase 1 are going to be, your attacker spawns, your defender spawns, your objective, your power position, your primary power position, and your flank. Okay, so on Firebase, for example, the primary power position's the waterfall building, the objective is the objective, and then the flank is on the other side of the objective from the waterfall building. And Colony is the same way. Actually, it's very similar in that regard, even though it's it's laid out a bit differently, and there's a lot of different little routes and positions and stuff. It still follows the same pattern, and I like to think that any given conversion map is going to some extent follow this pattern. But okay, so for both the attacker and the defender spawns, like I said in the spawning tutorial, you're going to want two separated little spawn areas, and that's basically so that you can't just go in and spawn kill either team. So the spawns are a little separate, so they can be safe if one of the spawn area is under attack. So you do that. You might also want to have backup spawns, like I talked about in the spawning tutorial. But anyways, so the next main thing is the objective. Okay, and the objective is basically, it has to be some sort of position, some sort of little platform or something. And you need to control the ways that players can enter the objective, right? And this is going to be in accordance with the routes that people can attack it from. But basically, you want the objective partially walled in, or you want some kind of structure there that's kind of forcing players to attack from certain angles, whatever. And again, that'll be in accordance with your routes. But the design of these little mini walls and such around the objective is all going to stem from your routes and your power positions. So that brings us to the power position, which is probably, well, I wouldn't say it's the most important part, but it's extremely important, because if you see, like in Lockdown, where everything just becomes this mosh pit over a single static objective, that's a huge problem in that game mode. So and we designed this months and months and months ago, long before Lockdown was ever even thought of. But the first thing I said when we knew we were going to have a single objective at a time was that we needed to have another position that really was important to focus on, so that it didn't just become a mosh pit for the objective. So that's where the idea for the power position came from. Shu did an awesome job making it the waterfall building. It looks really cool. So this position is going to be some very powerful position, which first of all, it needs to have some kind of call out. It needs to be like, bam, that's the waterfall building, or on Colony it's the garage. It's really easy to call out. It's really easy to see. It's a big focal point, right? So it's got to be, it's a powerful position for either team to hold. It's got to be contestable, and it can't be all powerful. And we generally have it so that it can shoot into the objective just a tiny bit, but it's less than ideal for shooting into the objective. But what it really does is controls the approaches to the objective for both teams. So, that's really important. It's the same thing on Firebase as it is on Colony. And then of course your routes that take you to that power position are going to be very important. Also, the power position should have some level of power over those routes, but not too much. And yeah, again, just kind of look at the waterfall building on Firebase, the garage on Colony for some more inspiration on that. But it's this is a really important structure, and again the way that you handle the lines of sight out of it and into the objective from there and onto the routes from there is all really important. So okay, aside from the power position, on the other side you have the flank, and basically on Colony it's really kind of exaggerated. You can flank all the way out as an attacker under the sky bridge, loop around and hit the objective in the side. So, and Firebase it does the same thing, although it's a bit less exaggerated. So basically what this flank allows the attackers to do is to hit the objective from a different angle than they normally would be. So they're not hitting it straight on from the front. They're really hooking around to the side and can come at it from a different place, and that really breaks up the ways that you can push the objective. Adds another level of strategy. And of course this also is an opportunity for the defenders to come out to the side and really hit the attackers in the side if they're not using the flank. So it's kind of an important position, and you may want to have some little contestable position, but definitely nothing like the waterfall building over here. And then kind of the other important stuff going on is just the other routes. So something we like to do is to have the routes split on their way to the objective. So you can see on my little diagram here, I don't have the attackers can't just run straight into the front of the objective. They have to actually branch around a little rock outcropping or something like that. And these routes just have to be defined also. So on the left for the attackers, they're actually passing through their garage. On the right, it's defined by a number of rocky outcroppings and walls and whatnot. And that sort of thing. For the defenders, it's the same thing. They're coming down a ramp, or they're going this way or that way, whatever. And having these defined routes is really important, but also allowing the routes to be dynamic enough that players can hop between different routes on their way to the objective from either team is also really important. But yeah, splitting up those routes is really good. Just having really defined routes. You don't want this open field that's just like, okay, run at the objective. You want to have kind of more structure to it than that. You want to have different routes where each with their own advantages, disadvantages, risk versus reward. And I don't think I need to say too much more on that note, because if you're if you're forging a conversion map, I would hope that you kind of understand the principles of risk versus reward already. Other than that, for phase 1, I suppose it's good to mention that the objective is generally going to be a bit closer to the defender spawns than to the attacker spawns, just because of the nature of how it works. The defenders need to be a little closer in so they can really set up around the objective. You don't want them just setting up in the objective itself. The phase 1 objective itself is generally the simplest little objective on the map, but as far as you want those positions surrounding it to set up, you don't just want the one super obvious like waterfall building, but you want some other little positions that are useful, little places that have a little bit of power over a certain route or whatever. But yeah, so other than that, something important to keep in mind in phase 1 is that this is going to be the basis of the map, right? So on Firebase you're passing through what becomes the attacker garage. On Colony we were a bit smarter with that. We made the power position the garage, so when they move up, it just works like that. But it's important to have positions in phase 1 that will lend themselves to being used as a garage and as phase 2 spawns, phase 2, 3 spawns. So yeah, I think I covered everything. I know that was a ton of information I just threw at you guys. It's not it's not easy to design a conversion map, but hopefully this helps. And if you followed all this and you've really got a map going, you can always contact me. But make sure that you look into this, look at the maps, understand them first before spamming me with messages, preferably. But anyways, guys, I hope this helps. Stay tuned for phase 2 and 3 design theory tutorials, and have a good one. Bye bye.